It's going to be wild. Welcome back to Harpo. Lately, it sounds like politicians and some big-name Republicans in particular are getting away with some major whoppers. Climate change deniers and even birthers have found friends on Capitol Hill and in state capitals across the country. I have to wonder, what's this fish story thing that's going on around the country? Make up a big story and stick with it. You can get away with anything. David Corn's the Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones and columnist for Politics Daily, and MSNBC political analyst Richard Wolfee is the author of Renegade. Gentlemen, I want to start with one of the big whoppers. This is from a man everyone has respected over the years, the #1 Republican, the candidate for president last time around. Last week, John McCain told Newsweek magazine, in all seriousness, I never considered myself a maverick. Well, that's in print, and he hasn't denied it. Here's some of the tape that suggests otherwise. Let's listen. This is the big whopper.
And what maverick really means, what this team of maverick really means, is we understand who we work for. When two mavericks join up, we don't agree on everything, but that's a lot of fun. And you got a team of mavericks, a team of mavericks. Send a team of mavericks.
I've been called a maverick.
A maverick?
Maverick. A maverick and a maverick.
It was my old friend and green room pal, Chris Mathews. He used to like me, but he found somebody new. Somebody who opened his eyes. We've talked about it. I told him, Maverick I can do, but Messiah is above my pay grade.
Maverick I can do. Gentlemen, he's even called a book called The Education of a Maverick, and now he's out saying, I've never considered myself a maverick. This may be the first of many examples of Republican. The party seems to be using a lot of these. Richard Wolfee, doesn't it matter now to be completely wrong? Is it okay to just make some, I've never been a maverick? Just say it. Because your people are going to be with you no matter what you say.
Well, look, clearly there's political pressure on these guys because they're playing to this really extremist vocal base, and the technology is there that pushes stuff from rumor maker to lawmaker really quickly. On the other hand, the technology also allows us to play the tape over and over again. So
and
you're caught by it, but you're seduced by it. You know, the technology.
Well, what's a person out in Arizona right now who's sort of a middle to right-wing Republican who thinks McCain is a straight shooter, right? Well, and they watch us do this right now.
The brand, Maverick brand, has just been deflated somewhat.
Corn, David, I mean, David, what does a true believer think when they hear that their Messiah, well, I'm sorry, in this case, Maverick, just tells them something that's such a whopper of a fish story? I've never considered myself a maverick.
I think the brand is now bankrupt, Richard. Either he's absurd or he has amnesia, and I think it shows that he's nothing more than a desperate politician who will say whatever pops into his head at the moment for political gain. It's rather sad.
Okay, you're on to a favorite topic. Here's Rudy Giuliani on Good Morning America in January after the attempted Christmas plane bombing in Detroit. Let's listen to another whopper.
What he should be doing is following the right things that Bush did. One of the right things he did was treat this as a war on terror. We had no domestic attacks under Bush. We've had one under Obama.
We had no domestic attacks under Bush. Under Bush, we had 9/11, the worst attack on our country in its history, on its homeland. Under Barack Obama, we had an attempted guy on an airplane that got caught doing it. David Corn, how can you say we were never struck under Bush? How does somebody say something like that? Who's a New York mayor?
Yeah, well, you simply can't. George Orwell said that political language is designed to make lies sound like truth and murder respectable. And as long as there's no real payback, other than being poked fun at by Chris Mathews, John McCain and Rudy Giuliani and Sarah Palin and the others will keep saying these things. If voters don't care about some fundamentals like just getting it right, then there's a gain for them to say things that aren't true because it sounds good.
You guys keep bringing up the magic name, Sarah Palin. She's talking again this week about death panels. All they had was a provision that one congressman suggested, which is you can get payment if you want to get counseling on those issues like, you know, deciding what you're going to do at the end of your life, what kind of treatment you want at the end to keep you alive. It happens all the time. It's not a death panel. She just made that up.
Right, and propagate. This stuff doesn't just get, it's not a misstatement.
Living wills.
It's not just a misstatement,
like
okay? Death panels got repeated over and over. We're seeing the same thing again about these 16,000 IRS agents. Okay, it has gone to senators' mouths,
whopper?
Senators' mouths, Congress.
Well, tell me the whopper. So
the idea is that the IRS is hiring all of these thousands of people to enforce the mandate. But in fact, the IRS's responsibility is to put out tax credits, not to collect revenue. This is one of the big, this is the big government takeover.
Speaking of all had and no cattle, here's the governor of Texas. Guys, I got to keep moving because this doesn't end. Here's Rick Perry last April talking to a Tea Party crowd in Austin, which I thought was a smart town, about how Texas has the right to secede under its terms of entry into the Union. Let's listen.
Texas is a unique place. When we came in the Union in 1845, one of the issues was that we would be able to leave if we decided to do that.
My hope is that America, and Washington in particular, pays attention. We got a great union. There's absolutely no reason to dissolve it. But if Washington continues to thumb their nose at the American people, who knows what may come out of that.
That's the comment of a madman. I mean, David Corn, there's never been a provision in any state's entry into the Union you could split when you felt like it. That's what the Civil War was about. There was a provision which would allow the state of Texas to devolve into a number of states, 6, I believe, at the time it chose to do so, but wanted more senators, but never leave the Union. How did he make that up and get away with it?
Chris, it's not just a matter of getting things wrong. There's an intent here. It's demagoguery. It's saying things to whip up your base, your followers, to gain political advantage. And we saw back into the 2000s, in the early part of the decade, a whole campaign on the Bush administration, better than anyone else, to use assertions that weren't true to get the country into war. Unfortunately,
Thomas, we know all about that.
Over and over again.
Okay, now for a refreshing change of tone. Here's Tom Coburn, who I come to respect tremendously for what he's done. Here's Senator Tom Coburn of Oklahoma talking with a woman in a town hall meeting in Oklahoma City on March 31st, not too long ago. Let's listen to this refreshing departure from this big whopperdom. Here it is. Let's listen.
If they can put us in prison, take away our prison, take away our liberty, are they not trampling on our Fifth Amendment rights by putting it under the IRS? Because the IRS thinks you're guilty until proven innocent.
I want everybody else to get ask a question. So let me. The intention is not to put anybody in jail. That makes for good TV news on Fox, but that isn't the intention. There is the intention, though, to use the Internal Revenue Service to hold you accountable, and you have to prove that you have bought health insurance. And I want to tell you, I do a lot of reading every day, and I'm disturbed that we get things like what this lady said and others have said on other issues that are so disconnected to what I know to be the facts. And that comes from somebody that has an agenda that's other than the best interest of our country.
Richard,
full credit to Tom Coburn.
Profile of encouragement for that one.
Let me just contrast that with another conservative senator, no less conservative, Richard Shelby. Town hall meeting last year, someone says the president isn't born in America. He goes, well, they say he's born in Hawaii, but I haven't seen the birth certificate. When you're in these town hall meetings, it's not just about pandering. It is about setting the record straight and being a leader, a political leader. I think Tom Coburn takes the award. He did it, but not everyone. It's not about being conservative or not. It's about being true to some principles. He showed that he is. Others have not been that honorable.
It seems, David, you got to beat up some people to admit the truth. They just keep playing these games. They waffle. They pander. They let the person believe the worst. They're standing in there. They're getting paid by the public to tell them what's going on, and they let the dishonesty just feed on itself, and they keep it going. David, your thoughts? Don't they have some responsibility to the court of public opinion to tell them what they know?
You think they would. You think everybody does, but, I don't have as much... I don't think that Glenn Beck has as much of an obligation to tell the truth as an elected member of our legislature. Anyone who's elected to office who wants to be a true leader has to be able to make their case for a conservative, a liberal policies, whatever they want, on the merits. And it's very. Why do people lie? Because it gives them the upper hand in a political debate. It's harder to win a debate against somebody who's lying. That's why they do it.
Okay, the other problem is there's no penalty box. Thank you very much, David Corn. Thank you, Richard Wolfee.